to his right, and he's in. He's into the end zone. Chandler Chapman rushes across that Ewing green in that yellow end zone in the Fargo Dome. And with 4 seconds into the second quarter, SIU will cap a 6-play, 65-yard drive and a touchdown that ate up 3 minutes and 15.
Inside Saluki Athletics, the official coaches show of Saluki Athletics. Now, here is the voice of the Salukis, Luke Martin.
Welcome everybody back to Inside Saluki Athletics with the head coach Nick Hill. I am Luke Martin. Man, it's just life in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Another big-time football game this weekend at Saluki Stadium at 2 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you there as the North Dakota Fine Hawks come on in for what will be an exciting afternoon of football. We got a jam-packed show for you. We have Chandler Chapman coming up on the program. Larry Warner is going to stop on by. Running back room has been off to a really good start this season. And we'll close things out with Davion Sykes from Saluki Men's Basketball. As hard to believe, but the exhibition opener is on Friday in Banterra. Going to be plenty of action this weekend. But let's recap North Dakota State before we preview North Dakota as we bring on head coach Nick Hill. Coach, appreciate the time as we do and we talk about constantly. The great thing about our level, and especially the Missouri Valley Football Conference, you are constantly going up against the best competition week in and week out. And you knew you would exactly have that in Fargo. And tip your cap to the Bison. They really capitalized on the mistakes that your group made and able to extend that lead out. But there were good things that your team can take away from Saturday.
Yeah, they're a good football team. They're going to make you pay, which they did. And good football team. We feel like we have a good football team. And when two good football teams go at it, like when you look back on the game, turnover margin, situational football as far as third down, red zone, got to score touchdown down there. They got us in all of those categories, and so it's about getting back and having a good response, knowing that there's a lot of good things on tape that you can build off of, and then just knowing that in those games we got to make sure in the moment we make those things happen. Nobody's trying to turn the football over. I don't think they were sloppy plays, as far as schematics or forcing it or anything like that. Maybe, probably the last one, and that's something, we've got to learn off of. I talked to our team. There's no 21-point play. You're not going to force your way to. So just take what's there, keep getting first downs. So probably the last turnover was maybe forcing it a little bit, but the 2 fumbles, those guys are trying to make plays, and we got to focus on the techniques and fundamentals of making sure we take care of the ball and the ball's not on the ground.
Every team you play, especially in the Valley, there are physical teams, but we know no doubt once you start going up against the top tier in this division, that's really when the physicality shows. And to me, that's where I'm really optimistic after Saturday for your team, because your offensive line was able to create some running lanes, and it wasn't just DJ creating something from nothing constantly. Thought Chandler Chapman, Eddie Robinson, Lim Walsh all had productive days for you running the football against a team that's been really good at stopping the run. And even on the point of attack defensively, I know there were some big plays in the game, but I also felt your defensive line held up well. Do you agree with that? Does that bode well for you guys moving forward of saying there are some positive things, especially from a physicality standpoint coming off of Saturday?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think we've been seeing that. Now, this was probably the best group that we went up against to say that. But, yeah, I totally agree. I think, as far as just having the confidence and just keep on running the football and knowing that we talked about that being the key to the game, and I think the drives that we were moving the ball. I don't know how many times we punted, once or twice.
I think
twice, yeah. And I think they were both in the first half. So the ball was moved. We were staying in front of the chains, as far as executing the game plan, and that's credit to our guys. I thought they were physical. I thought the offensive line and tight ends were both physical, and the backs ran downhill. As far as a lot of those, over 5-yard runs are all because they're breaking tackles and they got downhill. And then same thing on the defensive line. I think when you look back at their explosive plays, they weren't just turn around and hand the ball off, right? Like the first play was a power read jet sweep. That was a good call by them. We got to be able to knock that ball down and make it maybe a first down, but it's not a touchdown. But, yeah, I mean, then it's scrambled by the quarterback. It's a big pass play. It was a couple big pass plays that were their explosive. But as far as the game plan, as far as them just lining up and ripping off explosive runs, our defensive line did a good job getting knocked back and playing downhill.
I don't think we did a good job of our radio crew on Saturday talking about the effort that a guy like Aiden Quinn put into the game. And a lot of it had to do with Schwindy going out very early on that first series. And clearly, AJ, he's not 100% right now, but for him to go through, I think, play a season high in snaps, never complained. He's out there laying his body on the line, made a really good catch for you to move that drive nearing the end of halftime. Like, I don't think we did enough to really put in the words for our fans of, one, how tough that dude was, but also the type of performance he had on Saturday.
Yeah, and we've talked about it, like, we give out Players of the Week, but then we also give out, Be a Man award. And that's for all-encompassing toughness or anything. I mean, AJ won that this week for us. I mean, it was a game that, Swindy was going to be on a high rep count. AJ played with a small club on his hand and had surgery yesterday. Was out today. Will play in the game on Saturday. I mean, he's tough as nails. And then Swindy goes down, and it's like he's got 56 reps. He was like, don't worry about, like, call it like you normally do. I'll catch the ball. Catches a third down with the club on his hand. But, I mean, AJ is we've talked a lot about it, and I think you guys do a good job of highlighting those guys that we have on our team. And AJ is just, I mean, you can't put on paper, what you'd want out of a person on your team. I mean, even when someone goes to the doctor, like who's giving them a ride, whether it's the trainers or position coach, and then who's going to be there post-surgery, somebody coming out. And whenever it's like his wife's taking him,
Yeah.
You got a pretty mature guy. It's like his wife's got it. They're fine.
Yeah.
And I'll call you whenever, my wife gets me back to our place. So that's just him. And I think there's something, too. It's kind of like Perella playing with the club.
Yeah.
We talked about it, like, with his dad, just like, man, nasty. Like, the club gives you kind of AJ's kind of like that. It's almost like, yeah, put that club on me. That's kind of fits his personality.
Which meant Miles Marshall was no doubt gets elevated. What you saw from Miles having to step in there as well. And there were a lot of times where Aiden at times was the only tight end on the field, but, man, that also meant that Miles definitely had an increase.
Yeah, Miles was on, the last touchdown run with DJ down there in the goal line. And we take so many reps in training camp and everything. I mean, there's been, hundreds of plays where Miles is out there with the ones in training camp and catching the ball and operating. So, I mean, for us, it's really about just the next man up. And that's why you constantly are building depth for moments that you've got to go play in. So it's training camp, two-spotting, 2-minute drives. You're out, you're in. We're going to need this at some point. And once you get in the moment of the game, like, hey, you're not even thinking who's in. It's just we're calling this is what we like. You got to go execute.
Maybe one of the most ecstatic plays that we had the call on Saturday, Coach Hill, was when E.T. Harris was able to get the run. E.T. just a great kid and has had to go through so much in terms of personal adversity, injury adversity on the field for you in the 2 years. You've been practicing. You've been working on it. There are things where we kind of, okay, we'll see if this comes to fruition on a Saturday. And, man, E.T. right there, I mean, to run by some of those guys, it's really hard to do. I know I only go down as like a 6-yard rush, but, man, it meant a lot to him, the energy that he showed. And, again, another guy to see him get rewarded and also take a hit, get right back up and be okay.
Yeah, and, he's coming back off injury, so, I mean, he'll just keep on. I mean, he can play wide receiver for us. He's probably the fastest guy on the field on that given play. I mean, if we had to line up and run a 60-yard, race, E.T.'s probably winning most of the time, and the kid can fly. So he catches the ball well. Just getting him incorporated. He came here as a quarterback, but he can do so many different things, and really just getting him involved, right? That was the first game that he's ever dressed since he's been here. And obviously he's in the room with me at the quarterbacks, and just even seeing him, like, it was a 6-yard run, but it was good that he got downhill.
Yeah.
He finished the run. But just seeing the sideline, I love seeing that. When you go back and watch tape, like you see different guys who's jumping up and down. It's like those are his roommates and stuff. And those little small things bring energy to people, bring energy to – I know DJ had a smile on his face whenever I was calling the personnel. He's looking over, and he's excited for ET as well. And so we'll keep getting him involved.
We talk so much about DJ, and it's always great to talk about when things are going really well. And, he knows that Saturday was not his best performance on the field, and it's not all on him either. But the reason you feel so optimistic about the bounce back is because he's done it before. And it's how he carries himself day to day. Like, what do you believe sets DJ up? I know a lot of it is his makeup, and we've talked about that every week, I think, here on the show. But what allows him to be like, man, that's a dude that can bounce back very easily because of just his total and complete makeup as a human.
Yeah, and I think that's how you got to be to play this position, play it well. You'll see that. And they watch so much football. I mean, take your favorite player. They started to say Mahomes had lost it, and all of a sudden he's back to being maybe the MVP. It's when you play this game and you play that position, two plays take away, the 2 turnovers. He's playing the way, and those plays could have been big plays. Honestly, that was one, like, when you look back and it's like, man, if he runs the quarterback draw on when he throws the pick, it might be one of his 50, 60-yard runs, And so, it's about getting back in there. You're not going to play a perfect game. You never are. You're not going to call a perfect game. I've got 3 or 4 of them, a couple runs that didn't go anywhere that, like, should have anticipated some things better. So it's the same when you play, and then you get back in, and you still got that hunger and confidence that, like, I can't wait to get back out there on the field.
Look, no doubt we focus things on from the Saluki perspective, and as we should. And I know, when you look at defensively, there were no doubt some things that continue to improve on for your defense. But also, Cole Payton, I mean, some of those throws that he made on Saturday, Coach Hill, were just, honestly, they were perfect throws. And I thought your defense at times was in good position. It was just a great play made by a really good quarterback. And obviously we know how good Bryce Lance is and his talent. At times where, yes, you're going to coach your guys, right? Hey, here's where we can be better. And it's not that you just say, oh, they just made great plays. But sometimes that is how it goes. I mean, those guys made some really good plays and was really impressed with how Cole Payton played on Saturday.
Yeah, he's a really good football player playing at a high level. And, when you go through a 4-quarter game, those good players are going to make plays in games. And that's where you want it to be, back and forth and put it into the 4th quarter to where – you got to make those plays in high-pressure moments, and so that's a tip of the cap to him. He's been doing that consistently, though, so that can't be an excuse either. And even on those plays, there's a lot of learning situations to where some of those third downs where they were perfect in the second half on third down, I think were really good teaching opportunities for our defense to just do your job. Even it wasn't, too bad, but just continue to do your job, be in the right spot, trust the next person that he's going to do his. And when you do that and there's a completion, we're on to the next play. But so a lot of things that we can grow off from the film.
What did you see as a difference of, I believe they were 0 for 5 on their first third downs. I think the first third down they picked up in the game was the last drive going into halftime, to where you thought, good start to be able to get off the field when you got them in those predicaments, but then what changed in the second half to just couldn't quite get that play because you got them into some positions where you felt really good where you were at.
I think both when they took the lead before half and then coming out of half, I think we had them in 3rd and 8. So, it's really a tale of 2 halves as far as, third down defense. And then us, I think we got them. We were moving the ball and had a lot of first downs. I think we had 9 third down attempts in the first half, maybe 4 or 9. And then I think we only had 2 third downs in the second half because I think we ended 5 of 11, which we only had 22 plays or something like that in the second half. So it was really a tale of 2 halves. They took momentum. We turned the ball over twice. They took the lead. Really, the formula for success for them in the Dome is like if you make a mistake and they can get a couple touchdown lead, then you have to start kind of playing into where you not necessarily become predictable. That was still the third quarter where we needed to get a drive going and make it a 2-score game, But once you're down 3 scores and we had to start, throwing it maybe a little bit more, then they got you where they want you.
Let's go ahead and transition to North Dakota. And what's really been neat for me, Coach Hill, is doing the initial research into the week, is how these two programs have been intertwined for a long time. You think of obviously Coach Dale Lennon, who was here, and how much he is synonymous with North Dakota. And Coach Schmidt, of course, spent time here on Coach Lennon's staff. And then DJ Davis, one of your all-time great running backs, he's on staff there. Trevor Olson. I mean, you go up and down the line. There are so many coaching ties within this program, like the Salukis and the Fighting Hawks, man. There's always been kind of that line and some connection with the program.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it starts with Coach Lennon, who I know will probably be tuned into the game, and coming here from North Dakota, bringing a lot of those guys on his initial staff, Bubba and Coach Smitty and all of those guys. So then there was always a constant. And then when Bubba went back, a lot of those guys went with him. So you learned a lot about the program, from Coach Lennon. And then now with DJ Davis up there and Trevor up there, and then obviously Coach Prawn's connection with the OC, and then a lot of Coach Kill connections, right? So yeah, there's a lot of they're going to be well coached. I think it's a respect of, in all 3 phases, they're going to do a really good job and do it the right way. Obviously, DJ, I got asked this, I was super excited for him to get that job, right? I mean, I can remember when he called me. I went down in the basement, called me a couple times, about the interview. And I'm like, dude, you're going to crush any interview. He was wanting some pointers as far as being interviewed. I'm like, DJ Davis needs to just be DJ Davis, and you'll get any job if they're smart, And so I wanted him to get that job. That's a great job for him, around good people. Yeah, he's one of my favorite people of all time, And so I'm proud of DJ. It'll be good to go compete against him, and see him. And he's a competitor now. He's going to be excited to have those guys going. I know how he coaches. Love DJ and what he stands for as a person, a man, Christian. Man, his future is bright, and I'm sure they're happy to have him.
And you know what? Their team's playing really well. And I know throughout the years, even under Bubba, I mean, they were kind of, in recent years, they've had really good offenses. At times, maybe their defense hasn't been quite there, but man, their defense looks extremely improved, has been off to a really good start this year. Mix in an offense that has a quarterback playing at a high level.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Bubba and Coach Schmidt. And then talking about Travis Steps, too. I mean, Travis was here, coached me, coached with him. Christina was here and ran our academic department forever. I'm sure she'll be back. It'd be good to see them. But, those are all defensive guys. And, from Coach Lennon and Bubba and Coach Schmidt, just defensive-minded guys. They've always got a great plan. They've always been aggressive as far as their moving around and blitzing, and they've shown that. They'll come from all different places. So we got to be ready for that. And so ton of respect for how, he's came in. Like me, I mean, he played there. He has a ton of pride for there. He's well connected there. They're supporting the program. They're doing things the right way. They understand up there in the Dakotas, this is the way that we've got to do this thing from an NIL perspective and all of those things. So he'll do a phenomenal job there.
As you look just towards the game, Coach Hill, it's not that it really changes a whole lot every week. You guys obviously have your core beliefs, your core values that your program has to do well to earn what would be. I mean, any win in the league is hard to get. This is no doubt going to be another hard one to get on Saturday. What do you feel are going to be really the important things come the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the same thing. We just have to go out there and we have to execute. We got to make sure that from today and tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. You know, we're zeroing in. Things are different, you know, than they were last week as far as the schematics go and what we're trying to accomplish. And so then we've got to do a good job of a staff. So when we hit the field on Saturday, that we're going out there, we're playing fast. Guys are seeing things. And then we just got to go out there and play. I mean, we got to take care of the football. That's why, like, when you look at really season stats at the end, you can kind of say holistically, this is how we did. But it really matters on Saturday. Who wins the turnover margin Saturday? Who plays well on third down Saturday for this game? And so we've got a blank slate. Let's go out there and let's prepare really hard and go out there and be ready to go get a win.
And no better way for Saluki Nation, too, to come out and support you guys on Saturday, because it's the first of 2 straight weeks here at home, right before homecoming week, which I know there's going to be a lot of events going on next week. But, man, to be at home, to have the chance, you talk about the importance of home field in this league. Man, Saluki Nation can play a big factor for what's going to be a big game on Saturday.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, we're excited to get back home. Play at home. We need everybody to come out Saturday, 2 o'clock. It's a blackout cancer game that we always have a special, this game is always just, it started here, originated here, so we'll get an opportunity to play for others, raise awareness on Saturday, and it's a big game. Every game in this league is big, and you can look around. That's how you want it. That's why, like, probably in the FBS, Big Ten or SEC, and it's like, man, you got it's like Florida. It's like they just played Texas A&M. They just played LSU. Now they got Tennessee. You know what I mean? I got Auburn next week, Georgia, and it's so you just have to be at your best 1 week at a time.
Well, as you say, Coach Hill, with Saturday being blackout cancer, it's meant so much for the program, dating all the way back to Mike McElroy, who, of course, got this thing started. And it's really great to see when so many, of course, of those personal connections on your team. We've highlighted so many of them that have that connection, which makes Saturday a really even more special day.
Yeah, without a doubt. Mike was able to when he was able to get back here for Sharon's memorial, let him talk to the team and everything. Sometimes, like, every year I tell him about Mike. And then, Mike in person, it was even better. Like, hey, this is who I always talk about. This is who started it. He's sitting your seat, and getting to have him back, sat in a couple of meetings and stuff. It was nice to have his vision, and we just keep carrying it on. Obviously, even this year, with Sharon Lipe, and I know, there's a group out there, a person that bought a lot of Sharon Lipe jerseys. So it'll be cool to see, her name out there on a lot of people's jerseys. Obviously we wear the sticker, but then, seeing that will be pretty cool.
It will be really cool on Saturday. It'll be no better way to honor her and all of those who have been impacted by that dreadful disease than a big Saluki win on Saturday. Coach, we really appreciate the time. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, appreciate it.
Once again, I was head coach Nick Hill. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Larry Warner is going to join us here live in studio. This is Inside Saluki Athletics. We welcome everybody back inside the Wells Production Studio here on the campus of Southern Illinois University. I am Luke Martin. So great to have you with us, everybody. Ben McLaughlin with the controls today behind the scenes. Now we get everyone's favorite Saluki. Larry Warner joins us to talk about what's been just a tremendous start to this Saluki football season. Another big-time home game coming up this week against North Dakota. Coach Warner, appreciate the time. And I know every week I feel like I'm saying, it's another big-time game. It's another big-time game. Well, that's just life in the Missouri Valley Conference, brother.
Yes, sir. In this conference, that's what we look forward to every week. It's a battle, so we look forward to it.
I thought, one of the areas that we talked about with Coach Hill in segment 1 about the North Dakota State game, look, you guys went there to win the game, and it was a disappointed plane flight home because that truly was a plane that flew up to Fargo believing that they were going to win the game. But specifically with you guys, I know the offensive line is really intertwined in your position, but how did you see the game play out, Larry, of matching the physicality and really bringing the physicality to North Dakota State? Because I felt you guys were able to run the football effectively on Saturday.
Yeah, especially with our room. We talked about it all week, just matching their intensity. We know they're going to come flying down, so we got to be ready for it. And, I think those guys stepped up to the challenge, and they ran extremely hard.
We're going to have Chandler Chapman up coming on the show. Man, one of the areas that's been impressive with me for him, Larry, is almost like with each run, you can see there's just more intensity, there's more confidence every time he's touching the football. Do you see that too, and what do you credit that with him just getting better? I mean, as the years going on, as the games go on.
Yes, I know, like me, coming from junior college is a big different, kind of like a cultural shock, just the way things are ran, the way the program is ran, and the operations. And I knew eventually as he get his feet up on them and things start to slow down him and understand what we're looking for out of him, I think that has paid off for him, And then just the guys in the room, and just our mentality and our mindset is that every opportunity we get, we want to take advantage of it, because our room is deep. So, and that keeps the guys on their toes. And that's why I like to rotate them because in their mind, they just can't get comfortable. And that's in life. Once you get comfortable and complacent, I think that bad things happen for you. But as long as you know that you got somebody behind you that you're pushing, and when you're out there, you're fighting for your teammates, I think that's boosts the extra motivation for you. And those guys go out there and they try to prove it every week.
Feel bad for LaShawn that he's had to miss some time here the last 2 weeks. But again, as you said, that is a stacked room that you have. We've already talked about Chandler. Eddie Robinson had good productive runs against a physical NDSU defense. And Lim Wash, too. For me, Lim has shown over the last couple of weeks that he's got some more burst to him than I think maybe initially that folks would give him credit for. Where do you see that room continue to develop as the years going on, Larry, of yes, there's a reason you're rotating those guys in because you have confidence in all those guys.
Yes, it's all about trust. Like I tell them all the time, I got to be able to trust you, put you out there, and for me to have confidence in you going out there, and coaches have confidence in me putting the right guy out there. And that goes at practice. Those guys work extremely hard. And what you see on Saturday is just a product of what they do throughout the week. And, those guys are a fun group to be around. And, each week, I just see them just continue to grow, and just the questions that they ask and want to be very detailed on the things that they want to get accomplished. And I just think it's been paying great dividends for us. And, and we look forward to just any opportunity we get. And like I told those guys, if we get 5 carries, great. If we get 30, great. Whatever we get to do, whatever it takes to help this offense and help this team win, that's what we're going to do. If we have to block, we're going to go out there and we're going to fight like no other. And I think that's the mentality that we take every week.
I want to touch up on those things that maybe, even guys like me, maybe don't mention a ton during the broadcast. It's a lot of those things that go unseen, whether it is your pass protection schemes and things that are maybe off the ball that are not always focused on by the fan. How would you assess what your group has done in a lot of those areas that maybe don't get a ton of eyeballs from a fan perspective, but you guys as coaches no doubt focus on a daily?
Yeah, I think pass pro. I think those guys, even when we run blocking, I think we done took a step in the right direction. And those guys, they really take pride in it. And like I tell them, when it comes to blocking, it's not about the skill set and all that. It's a want to. You got to want to block. It's you against him. And your job is to protect the runner, to protect the quarterback at all times. So I think those guys just take pride in that and, lining up and going out there and just fight to protect the quarterback and those guys that get the receivers the ball.
Can't do it without an offensive line.
Yep.
I think Coach Clark's group, we had him on, we had Derek on last week. They all deserve really a tip of the cap on the job that they've done. Those are guys who have played a lot of college football. You can tell that makes, I think, a major difference for you. Just what have you seen from that offensive line group that's really, literally opened up the holes for you guys in the running back room this year?
I see a group that's together. They fighting, they understand what they're doing, and they're firing off the ball. And that's where my back's. I'm telling them, just trust it. Run through the smoke. Those guys are going to open it up for you. So you just got to trust it and stay true to your read. And once you get to the second level, you got to make the linemen right about what they done a great job, and you got to go make that one defender miss, and so it could be a long run instead of just what they give us. They give us 5, we got to go get 20 or 15 or more. So I think that group together is just, you see them in the hallways, you see them in the meeting rooms, and just the pride that they carry, together, and that's where my guys are feeding off them.
You've been a player, obviously, Larry, and you've been a part of these teams. You've gone up against the best of the best when you were here back in your Saluki career. And you know what? It's like the frustration of when you see you're there. And for the first 28 minutes of that football game on Saturday, you guys were going toe-to-toe. You were trading blows. It was a good heavyweight fight between two really good football teams. And hopefully both those teams can earn the way to play again at some point in time this year. But then you also know there's the other side of it where, man, the mistakes that we made really proved to be costly in the game. How do you balance hey, you're right there, fellas. Like, it's not like you're leaps and bounds away, but also knowing, hey, those are where those small mistakes can really add up to be big in the end.
Yes, I think, when you're playing a long season, it's a learning process. We take that. Sometimes you got to fail to be able to rise to the top and understand that this right here is a great lesson for us. We can take these things and look into the next week. And like Coach Hill always say, it's 1 week at a time, So with that situation, that was a learning situation for us. And hopefully that we understand that feeling and what we went through and the mistakes that we made that can cost you, and that we can learn from that and not have that happen again. And we can look forward to, going into this week and correcting those things so we can get back to that good feeling that we always been having.
Great leadership affects everybody, and it can transcend through a whole football team. Even guys who are playing defense can affect the guys on the offense, and obviously vice versa. For someone that coaches on the offensive side of the ball, can you even put into words that explains the impact of the leadership of a guy like DJ Williams, and how, even though he may not be a quote-unquote running back, even though he runs the ball a lot for this offense, but how his confidence, his ability to lead, his ability to never waver, how that affects everybody else on the offense and on the team?
Yes, because when when you go through tough times, you're always looking for that leader. You're looking for that guy that's always hyping you up, or just know what the right things to say to you. And if you see DJ on the sideline, when the defense out there, he's calling everybody up, get behind the defense. He's calling run pass. And he just come to work with that mentality every day. Like, he put it out there on the field, leaves it all out there. So when guys just see him work and how hard he work and the time that he put in it, it's hard not to follow him and listen to the things that he say. And, DJ's been doing a great job ever since he stepped foot on campus. And just from the running back room, I like to put up clips of when he's finishing runs, when he's breaking tackles. Those are the things that we want to do. So when we get that opportunity, if they're coming from the quarterback and he's got that mindset and that mentality that I'm not sliding, that I'm going to lay it out on the line, when you get your opportunity, you got to do the same thing.
Let's look ahead to this weekend. North Dakota, the return of DJ Davis and the Fighting Hawks coming this weekend. I know we're excited to see DJ back at a place that he created a lot of great memories. But with the team, again, I don't want to say that it's coach speak, but every team in this league is really, really good. And when you're in the top 10, you're obviously one of the best teams in the country. What really stands out about North Dakota and what you've seen on them on film, especially from their defense, that looks vastly improved and a really good defensive unit?
Yes, they're doing a great job. Couple guys, Smitty was here, and Travis Steps, they're doing a great job. They got those guys flying around and playing extremely hard, so we got to be prepared, and just like for most of them, it's a homecoming for them too, so it's going to be great to see those guys, but, going to war and just laying it all out there each and every week, looking forward to it.
I think there's many ways Larry, that you can look at when you come off a tough loss like your group had over the weekend. It can fuel you the right way to set up for some great things that come. And also there's a way where it could negatively affect you too. How have you guys as a coaching staff and really just communicating with the guys this week, make sure that, hey, it's time to move on. You know, a great opportunity. It helps when you know you're going up against a really good team in North Dakota, but to also make sure, hey, get rid of that disappointment. There's a lot of football left.
Yes, it's just like in life. You know, at some point you're going to get disappointed, but it's how you respond. How you respond to the next. When bad things happen to you in life, how you going to respond? You know, is you just going to lay down in there and just feel sorry for yourself and wait for somebody else to come help you get through this thing, or you just got to pick yourself up and just be thankful and blessed that you got a new opportunity and a new day, you know. So, and that's the sweet thing about this game is that each week you get a new opportunity to improve and fix the things that went wrong, you know. So it's always a learning experience in everything that we do in football and in life, you know. And I always like to connect things to life because that's the same thing that I dealt with through football and now that I deal with in life, and I remember the situation that I was in the football program that helps me get through life too.
Hey, it's been a heck of a year for Penny Warner and the Saluki soccer team too. They're right there in the standings. They're just 1 point off of that top spot. I know I've asked you multiple times what it's like to have Penny here and, of course, be a part of the program. But, man, they're having a great year. You know, a very historic year. And they're starting to come down the closing stretch here and have a chance to potentially be in a position where they can host some meaningful soccer here in Carbondale.
Yes, you know, that's like having her here is a true blessing, you know, and it's a second round at SIU. She's been in classes with me and my wife and things like that. So having her back and just being a part of the program and just understanding what it means to be a Saluki is awesome. And just, you know, like I always tell her, just lay it out on the line. You know what it takes to be a Saluki and just help the program grow and help these girls understand how important it is for the community, and just being a part of a program like this is special.
Well, we're going to get Chandler Chapman on. They'll be able to see his personality too, which is a very chill, calm demeanor persona, which can be a little bit different when he's out there on the football field. Well, it's great, Larry, and for our fans that maybe don't know either. I mean, you have a great personality, but when your personality is maybe the lowest with all those other personalities, that says a lot about your room now. You got some personas in that running back room.
I do. That's what makes my job special, man. I come to work and deal with all these guys, and up under all that, we're just alike. You know, we're good people, just love being around each other, and you know, and that's the beautiful part of just being a coach. You know, just help them understand who they is as people and just go out there and just try to perfect everything that they can.
Well, Larry, you can tell that your group not just responds to you, responds to Coach Hill, the whole program. Been a lot of fun to watch you guys over the last couple of weeks. Let's have a fun one on Saturday. It's going to be another phenomenal football game between two really good teams, and looking forward to it on Saturday afternoon. Appreciate the time, Larry.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Once again, that was Larry Warner. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, well, it's hard to believe, but we will have our first basketball game on Friday in Banterra. There's going to be plenty of action coming up on Friday. Davion Sykes stops on by to talk about that exhibition opener with Austin Peay. This is Inside Saluki Athletics. Welcome, everybody, back to Inside Saluki Athletics. Yes, we're still in the midst of the fall season, but guess what? The first basketball game in Banterra is Friday night. You'll have a chance to come out and see this guy play, Davion Sykes, and the rest of the Salukis. It should be a fun one on Friday against Austin Peay. Davion now joins us to preview that game on Friday and much more. All right, Davion, finally, you get to go up against somebody else. I know technically it won't count in the win or loss column. I know for you guys as a team, you guys are just ready to go up against somebody different than the guys you've been going up against every day since June.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, practice, you see the same guys every day. You go against the same guys. Just getting play, somebody new and actually, be a team and, go win against somebody else. I think, that's what we're really looking forward to.
When you look at yourself, Davion, where have you seen growth already in this team and the different scrimmages you've had? I know you had one big one over the weekend while we were in Fargo. But, man, there's been a lot of opportunities for you guys to play against each other. What's been the biggest thing where you guys are like, man, we have improved a lot?
I think our defense. I know Coach Nagy has made it a big thing for us, especially over the summer. But I feel like, it's really starting to fall in place. I feel like guys are, at this point bought in our defense. And, I'm really looking forward to, defending other teams and, showing them, how we work defensively because, the amount of time that we put in is ridiculous on defense. And, I'm ready to showcase that, especially as a team.
I'm excited for all of you guys, but really for you because I can tell just in football mode right now, but the practices I'm able to be around to see you play, you are embracing that leadership role. And it's not like it's different. It's like you fit that role well. One, do you think you do? And two, how much more, hate to keep using the word comfortable, but how much you are I'm ready for that role. I want to be that role for this team, whichever way it goes.
I think I'm definitely, stepping into that role, and I feel like, I've taken it into, a way of my own. Just being able to speak up, being able to bring energy to practice, knowing that my energy kind of affects, everybody else. Just even being as a returner and having that voice of, drills that we've done before, and just using my voice of knowing I'm a returner, knowing I'm a senior and I have experience, just to help, the younger guys out or anybody else, who needs help. And, the comfortability is just, knowing that it's my senior year and knowing that, this has to get done. I feel like our seniors are in line with the same image. We've all talked about it on a personal level. And I feel like once you have, your head guys, your seniors, that have all the same, goals, I think, what we can do it would be really good.
It's easy to talk about it. Words are words, but your actions are what speak louder than words. It's a very popular phrase, and it is true in life, Davion. So for you guys as seniors, you've had that conversation. What's been encouraging for me is whenever I'm here late at night, et cetera, see a lot of you guys in the gym, way more than there was a year ago at this time. From those areas, where do you see that it's not just words for you guys? What do you see in terms of actions that really has you encouraged of, hey, we're not just talking the talk this year. Like there is something else to back it up and also saying the right things.
We got guys, working out right after practice. They'll chill for a little bit, working out right after practice, get it in before, class starts. We got guys coming in late at night, after class. Just to know, every day in summer, I saw, a guy in the gym every time I was in the gym, no matter what time it was. And just to know that, these guys are willing to put in the work, at whatever time it is, it's almost build trust. And, if I know I'm putting in work and I know they're putting in work, then I could trust that this guy, he's here with me, he's here with the team, and he's willing to, sacrifice anything.
What's been the most difficult thing during this stretch of you guys? I'm sure I can get the number from your staff, but your practices have got to be well over 60 plus, if not 70 plus, counting since June. You've had multiple times where you've gone 5-on-5. You know your teammates inside and out. They know you inside and out. Yes, you got to continue to grow in that time, but can you even relay the difficulty of it and how you guys as a group made sure that, hey, even though it's difficult, we still got to focus on these things and know when we are making improvement and also know when maybe something is slacking off a little bit and you need to pick it up?
I think it's just the competitive spirit that keeps us going. You got guys that, talk to the next guy, competitively. They're talking mess. And I think that gets everybody fired up. So I think just knowing that when we come into practice with a competitive spirit, it allows us, to improve in those points, even though we can't really see it. And, practice, it gets repetitive, just learning and doing, some drills that, Coach wants us to work on and that we have to get better at. But just doing it in a competitive standpoint allows us to grow.
Look, inter-squad scrimmages, you can put a lot of stock in them, but also hey, come Friday, these exhibitions, and no doubt the games that you're going to play against competition in the non-conference and ultimately the conference season, those are what will be the true weight. But, man, Davion, when there's been so many practices where you've seen, a double effort out of you, a guy who's relentless on the boards, can also get to wherever you want on the floor and have the opportunity to score, where do you sense of saying, hey, you're going to be a double night every night? That's a really hard thing to do throughout the league, but also you're capable of that. How do you balance of, hey, I know I can do all these little things for this team, do them so well, but also know that, hey, that's kind of an expectation that you also have for yourself as you go throughout the year?
Yeah, I definitely see, the offensive part just kind of as a bonus. I understand that, my role on this team, is almost doing all the dirty work, playing defense, starting from there, getting boards, just kind of doing all around for the team. And then just doing it with my, the best of my ability. So I consider that just doing my job, getting boards, passing the ball, getting assists, making the next guy open. But, the offensive side, just being able, just to stay aggressive. I think once my mindset is just to, stay aggressive on the offensive side, I think everything, comes to play. And just the mindset of, that I don't have a lot of games left. And I'm trying to make everything count. So, I have that, playing in the back of my head every time I'm on the floor.
Is it easy to embrace doing the little dirty things, as you kind of described, for you, or has that been a process for you to really just be like, look, someone's got to do it. I might as well be the one that's going to do it, and not just do it, but do it well.
No, it's definitely been a process because, you get caught up in the fact that, everybody wants to shine. Sometimes the guys who, do the dirty work don't always get to shine. Sometimes it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. And just being okay with that, allows somebody to grow and just knowing, you still can impact the game. And I feel like, doing all the dirty work, over the years, it's allowed me to, you realize that I am still impacting the game in different ways, especially in the coach's eyes. And, it's been a long process, but yeah.
But that's part of the growth, Davion, and it's been an area that we've touched up on in so many different interviews with you, is just your growth this year. And you've even hinted at multiple times in this interview that, hey, I know that this is my last go around at this. I want to make sure that I really make it a really fun year for not just yourself, but all of your teammates. But now as you do look ahead to Friday, you do know it's going to be up against somebody else. What are kind of, I don't want to say necessarily internal goals, because obviously the goal is to win the game on Friday, but what are the biggest things that you guys are preaching internally as a team, regardless of just the final outcome, things you really want to show come Friday right from the get-go?
Personally, I want to show how dominant we are. I want to show, the versatility that we can have on the floor. Coach wants to play fast, and I think we can really show that, especially, with the guys that we got, no matter who comes in. I think just being dominant overall in the sense of boards on defense, holding them under, to possession by possession, points per possession. Just anywhere on the floor, having a good field goal percentage, having a good three-point percentage, free throw percentage. I think just being dominant on Friday night, is really going to spark something in us. And I think we can, and we have the capability with the guys that we have.
I think everyone knows how essential it is to, one, get that practice time. But here you are. You got 2 exhibition games. You'll have Austin Peay Friday, Lindenwood shortly thereafter. You've been a competitor. You know how important it is. Man, how crucial are these exhibition games just to figure those things out? You guys as teammates to go up, to get in the rhythm, get in the routine of what a game day will be like in Banterra on Friday before you guys actually know, hey, we are in season completely.
Yeah, I feel like, the prep and the game day, I think it just kind of sets the standard for how the season would go. I think coming in with the right mindset and with the guys, taking it serious. Excuse me. With the guys and everybody, taking it serious, I think it'll help, just set the standard for the season. I think it'll be a big thing just to, finally get to, play with, the 5 guys instead of, everybody on the court. Seeing how everybody could work well with each other, knowing and where you could get your shots. That always plays a part into, how good a team is. But I mean, like I said, defensively, I feel like, we could be really, really good. And I mean, just being able to show that, is what makes me excited.
Well, I know all the fans are excited to get there on Friday, Davion, against Austin Peay. It'll be a 6 o'clock tip inside Banterra Center. We're looking forward to it, man. Appreciate you stopping on by.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Once again, that was Davion Sykes. We're going to take a timeout here on Inside Saluki Athletics. When we come back, we close things up with Chandler Chapman from Saluki Football. This is Inside Saluki Athletics, the official coaches show of Saluki Athletics. We welcome everybody back to Inside Saluki Athletics as we get ready for another big-time football game on Saturday afternoon at Saluki Stadium. We've been used to all these night games. Just got done with an afternoon game in Fargo. We have the first afternoon game at Saluki Stadium as SIU welcomes in top 10 North Dakota, the Fighting Hawks. Chandler Chapman, what a year he has had already to this point on that Saluki offense. He takes time to stop on by to join us here on this Tuesday afternoon. Chandler, thanks for the time, man. Hey, I know it wasn't the result you guys won over the weekend, but, man, you guys have still put in a lot of good work to this point at the halfway mark. How do you and the team feel as you reach the halfway point, knowing there's still a lot of football left, Chandler?
We're feeling great. We're feeling good. We're not mourning too much on this loss. We're just going to keep working. And if anything, this loss made us better, put some fire up under us. It's all about how you respond, and I think we're responding really good to it.
You've had a really good response without this season for yourself, Chandler. Like each week, you can sense that, man, you are running the football with more authority. You gain more confidence, it feels like, with each carry you have. Do you feel that? Is that the way as the year's going on? Do you feel you're getting stronger as the year's progressing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting more comfortable in the offense and just finding my place and where I can help the team. So, yeah, I feel like I'm just getting better and better every week.
Look, we've talked about it countless times, so many interviews with you too, is you're in a loaded room. There's a lot of talented guys.
Definitely.
That probably, is part of the equation in terms of you getting more confidence is you've had to earn it. How have all of you guys just kept pushing yourselves, and it's been really you guys are a fun room to be around with all your different personalities.
Yeah, we just keep feeding off of each other. We see one person do something good, and you just try to mimic what the other person do and just take pieces from each other's game because we all have our different strengths and different weaknesses.
There's a reason why Coach Hill and the staff wanted you to be a part of the program. You have tremendous skill, tremendous talent. When you got here, what would you say are just the massive differences between where you were in terms of junior college to now playing the physicality of the Missouri Valley Football Conference each week, Chandler?
I definitely played a lot of talent at my junior college at Mississippi Gulf Coast. The main difference I would say is just the scheme of the game. Like we have a really wide playbook and there's really wide defenses, like the different packages the defense comes out in and the different packages and motions that we have on offense. That would be the main difference for me. It's just a more, I don't know the word for it, but the game is more. It's just more. It's more on that side in the playbook and the learning aspect.
You talked about really the details within it, and there's always details, I think, at every level, Chandler. But how have you tried to learn it as quickly as possible and make it in a way of, hey, this is pretty simplistic for me to follow this and know, hey, if I do these things well, there's going to be different defensive schemes. There's going to be different teams you play. But, man, if I can focus on these core values, it's going to translate regardless of what defense you're going up against.
I just try to just take it one thing at a time, just just staying calm, not trying to – you never want to overthink. I just never try to overthink it and just take it just one play at a time, and that really helps me. Because I did good with this stuff in junior college, and I try to think of it as the same thing. I've been playing football my whole life, so I don't try to make it more complicated than it is.
We know on Saturday, for the first 28 minutes of the football game in Fargo, you guys are right there toe-to-toe with the #1 team in the country. And no doubt turnovers were costly. That really flipped the game on Saturday. But knowing there's a lot of good that you guys showed on Saturday, how do you balance hey, we know there's a lot of good that we show, but we also know, hey, those minute details, those turnovers can really flip a game.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like those little turnovers, like we could eat. That's an easy fix, just toning in and locking in on that little aspect of the game, And the big plays, we could just feed off that. Like that's what we know we could do. So.
What was really encouraging for me, Chandler, and I asked DJ about it after the game, and yes, you get a lot of the credit. I think those big boys up front in front of you deserve a ton of credit especially against North Dakota State. When you play a team of that physical nature, it's hard to just get 3-4 yards per carry. Yeah. And you guys were right on that mark throughout the game. I'm sure you've had time to digest it. You've looked at it now to build off of it. How big is that for you, the offensive line, to know that the physicality part of it, you guys were able to match that on Saturday?
Yeah, I feel like the offensive line was doing a great job just moving people and making the lanes clear. Like, I had time to sit back and just scan, and make the right decision on which hole I was going to hit. Yeah, they did a great job with just moving people, getting people out the way. And they've been improving every week, I feel like.
You guys as a room continue to improve, too. I mean, we can keep talking about yourself, but obviously with Shady going down, man, limb wash right there. Obviously, Eddie Robinson has had some really good runs over the last couple of weeks. It can be a challenge, Chandler, when so many different guys have that opportunity, but how have you guys embraced that, hey, you're going to get your X amount of carries. Yeah. You've really been kind of a bell cow for this team in recent weeks, but you also know, man, Eddie's going to get a chance. Lim's going to get a chance. All of you guys bring something different.
Yeah, it's just whoever gets hot first, It might be a game where Lim or Ed they just pop off, like they're just understanding the game in a different way that game, So it's gonna be their turn to pick up the load, or I might start off and I might get hot first. So whoever's having the better game that's gonna be the guy we rock with for the most part throughout the game.
It wasn't a touchdown opening drive, but you guys still get points on the opening drive. It's been something I know Coach Hill and the staff, you guys have just been like, hey, look, we know there's going to be games where we get behind early, which you did against North Dakota State. We're able to bounce back and fight back. But what do you credit, Chandler, to just the reason why you guys offensively, when it's those openers, when it's those first 10, 15 plays of a game, you guys have a way to really dictate how you want the start of that game to go?
Yeah, we're really detail-oriented on those openers, and we go through them over and over. We practice those all week. Coach Hill does a great job of scheming up the openers and what's going to work. And we're very confident in that first drive and those first couple of plays. So that really helps. Everybody being on the same page and being able to be explosive that early in the game.
Things are always easy to lead, Chandler, when the wins are there, when you're winning big, like you guys have done for the majority of this year. But look, you guys went to Purdue, wanted to win the game. It didn't happen. No. You guys were able to bounce back and produce some really good games on the road. Now, you had a result that you didn't want. What is it about the leadership on this team that gives you the absolute most confidence that you guys will respond in the right way starting Saturday against North Dakota?
I feel like everybody had a great response to the outcome of the game. So that's just going to put a fire up under us to, nobody wants to feel like that again. So everybody's just going to come and just do their best to make sure that it doesn't.
We want to continue to see Chandler Chapman touchdown runs, too, by the way. Those are fun to call, man. I mean, when you burst right through there, we need more of those as we go throughout the year, Chandler.
Of course, I love when they call my number. When they call my number, I just, it's time to respond. It's time to make something happen.
Yeah, I know you said in JUCO, you went up against really good competition. And there's great football at every level within college. But as we said, you just played the #1 team in the country. You're going to play another top 10 team in the country on Saturday. What it means to get rewarded like that at this level, Chandler, to know that, man, each and every week, like you're going to hear me say that every week because the teams you play from here on out are really good teams.
Yeah, it's great going up against this competition, seeing where you match up, seeing, who who really wants it. So, yeah.
Chandler, we appreciate the time, man, stopping on by and looking forward to Saturday.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it as well.
Once again, that was Chandler Chapman. And we appreciate Chandler stopping on by for Inside Saluki Athletics today, as well as Larry Warner, head coach Nick Hill, and Davion Sykes with Saluki basketball. Again, we got a jam-packed weekend of Saluki Athletics. We hope you join us here in Carbondale, whether it's in Banterra on Friday or Saluki Stadium on Saturday. Saluki soccer on Sunday. There's plenty for Saluki Nation to go out and support Saluki Athletics this weekend. So until next week, when we catch up with you again on Inside Saluki Athletics, everybody, I am Luke Martin saying so long from the Wells Production Studio.